Recently, I had a chance to take an incredible vacation aboard the Norwegian Escape, and I was preparing for this video, which oddly enough is about 5 ways that you become what is around you. But I found that that journey on that trip taught me a lot about myself and how we all have tendencies to become what is around us. I'm going to teach you those 5 ways that that happens to us today, and I'll show you a few highlights from the cruise. Hi everybody, my name is Justin. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're not new, welcome back. This is the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom YouTube channel. This is the channel where we use the philosophy and the physical practice of yoga in a very practical and everyday way, one small step at a time to become happier people. Now, before we get started in talking about these 5 ways that you become what's around you and looking at awesome pictures of my vacation, I want to remind you that you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, which is free. So it comes out every Saturday, once per week. The link to sign up for that newsletter is in the description of this video below. I will teach you some things that I do not teach here on this YouTube channel. And you can also connect with me on Instagram at Justin Ricky Yoga. So if you want to connect with me farther than this video, those are the ways you can do it. We also have a podcast, the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom podcast. You can find that anywhere that you find your podcast, and I'll link some of those in the description as well below. So let's go ahead and get right to it and talk about how in the world a cruise vacation teaches you anything, right? Well, I'm going to tell you how that happens in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the topic of this video, which is how we become what is around us and the 5 ways that that happens. Now, this week on the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom podcast, which is the sister component to this YouTube channel, we talked about enabling. And both of these episodes in that podcast were focused on the teaching of Satya, which translates to truthfulness. Now, we know that the only way to experience freedom is in truthfulness. Sometimes we get into trouble though, because our egos want to control everything, right? Yet when that happens, that can block the flow of energy to where the energy actually belongs. So when we enable other people, or more importantly, when you enable yourself into making decisions that may not be the way that you want to go or the way that it feels right or any of that, we might feel good now, but not later. And those choices could feel sometimes like excuses or even denial. When that all happens, we block the flow of energy. So we will dig a little deeper with this concept and realize that we have found ourselves becoming what is around us with enabling, because it becomes our whole world. And we operate out of a sense of protection rather than a sense of freedom at times. So as I took some time to reflect on what I wanted to share with you in this video, I realized so many of us change our physical location all the time. And we tend to envelop what is happening around us, which can cause that enabling mainly in ourselves. So when I changed physical locations and I got accustomed to living life on board a cruise ship, I understand that yes, I am on vacation. Yes, it is time to relax. Yes, it is time to experience new and exciting things, but it's also a time that I need to ensure that I am becoming fully aware of what is around me and what I was partaking in, because this can carry over to real life when you come back from a vacation. So let's get into that right now. Now, also, this may also feel for you like it's a list of things to do to help with anxiety while you're away, which I actually have done a podcast episode about that. But that is the point of this, because we may not have all of the tools, all of the people, all of the things that we have at home to cope with things quickly when there's something that triggers us. And when you're away, it's not like you always experience travel flawlessly. How many times have you had an experience when you were traveling of things that did not go your way, right? It happens very, very often. And stay tuned, because in just a bit, I am going to share a way with you that you can add additional money to your vacation fund like I did just by shopping online, which we all do. And I want to share that with you later on in this video, so hang tight for that because you're going to love it. Let's start with number one, our very first way that we become what is around us, and that is this: our morning routine. Now, I speak a ton about our morning routine, and let me tell you, it was hard, really hard to stick to one while I had the opportunity to just do nothing or indulge as soon as I woke up, or even withdraw. And when you're around others who wake up and head maybe straight to the buffet on a cruise ship or straight to the bar, you may notice that you start to build up some anxiety around this. This vacation taught me and reinforced to me that even though I may not have had a set appointment or something to do in the morning, or even in the first hour after I've gotten up, I still needed to have my morning routine. It includes having no phone when I first get up. It includes having coffee and being in nature or looking at nature. It was easier to be in nature, obviously, on a Caribbean cruise where it's warm. I also have my morning journaling routine and my physical movement routine. It's very easy to slide into habits that don't serve you in the morning, which will jack up your day and feel like you're losing who you are while you're not home, while you're traveling, because you're not on your normal structure, you're not in your normal structured environment. If you keep your morning routine as tight as you can, as similar as you can to when you are at home, you actually feel like you, no matter where you are. Number two, the social environment. Yes, at home, we become so used to being around a lot of the same people all the time. You're around them at work, you're around them at the gym, you're around them in the communities you're at, your family, your friends. But here I was with 4,000 other people who I didn't know, and the social aspect of things can actually jar you to what you are used to when it comes to those social circles. You see, when you're at home, you take on sometimes the habits and the routines of those who are close to you because you're participating in a lot of the same things together in a social way. And you do that very routinely when you're at home. Maybe you belong to a group that loves to hang out at the bar and have some drinks. Or maybe you go skiing, maybe you go bowling, maybe you play cards, you're part of some club, and that becomes you. You become that. Well, you see, you find your truth in that social environment when you're at home. And when I was away, I noticed that there were all kinds of different people, an entirely different set of people, and you don't know where the social norms are going to go, even if you're participating in activities or events with them. So you want to be aware of the social environment that you're in and what the factors are around you, because they're very different than when you are at home. Now, some of you might be thinking this: hey, this is some common sense here. We're just adapting. Well, you are adapting, but I am here to tell you that for those of us, myself included, who have struggled big time for a long time with anxiety or depression, etc., can find it hard to feel normal when we are not in our own home or maybe in our hometown with the same people and the same routines, because anxiety can spike when you are in a different environment. That can make traveling really tough for some people. So I'm teaching you these 5 things that I learned only in the hopes that you will find ways to stay happy and feel like you are you when you are away, and it will cause less triggering or enabling for yourself, which can carry when you come back. And it will be harder to slide back into an everyday routine when you're back in your own home. So let's go on to number 3, which are your physical habits. I mean, physical exercise habits. For those of you who do not know, if you haven't been following me for a while, I not only teach yoga here on this channel, but I also teach it in a studio here locally where I live. And being a part of a community like that often brings you into becoming physically woven together, right, towards a common goal. And that's not just yoga. It could be whatever you're doing. It could be spinning, it could be boxing, it could be bar classes, it could be Zumba, it could be any of those things. Whatever it is, you start to become what is around you in that physical community that's practicing physical movement. And you know what's around you on a cruise? Food. Food, more food. Alcohol, drinks, more drinks, dancing, music, partying, spending money, and more. So it can be very easy for you to fall into a trap where you lose the physical part of yourself. Don't make any mistakes here. You should enjoy all of that stuff, the food, the drinks, whatever. You should. You're on vacation. You should be having a great time. But you can also take 10 or 20 minutes in your day to do a power walk, to maybe visit the gym that's nearby when you're traveling, or do some light exercise so it doesn't feel like you're neglecting your physical body. And boy, did I learn that the hard way because I use my core so much doing yoga when I'm home. I didn't do that when I was on this cruise. And when I came back, my low back was screaming at me. And it took me a couple weeks to get over some really bad low back pain. So with that being said, it is very important to feel like you are doing something physical for yourself while you're gone. And guess what? It will burn a couple of the cruise calories too. Let's go on to number 4. Speaking of burning calories, what is going into the body? Yes, indulge. Yes, try the things that you've never tried when you're gone. Yes, eat those things on your bucket list. Drink those drinks that are on your bucket list. But what this trip taught me is that when I tended to overindulge a little more, okay, maybe a lot more than I normally would, especially in the alcohol department, which I am not a huge alcohol drinker anymore, but I was on this trip. And I'm not used to that. So it can turn into a very serious issue for someone like me who struggled with an alcohol addiction before. That may be true for you as well. So being around people at home who might always go to bars and you are trying to get yourself kind of out of that because it doesn't serve you anymore, and you go and you don't drink anymore, and you have that ability to do that. When you are on vacation and it is everywhere for you, it can be an issue for you because you can notice I experienced this. I had some deja vu when I was drinking one of the days, and I had a few too many, and it started to feel like, ooh, I don't like this feeling. This is the feeling that I didn't like at home. And remember, I wasn't around the same safety nets of people and tools and things because I was miles and miles and miles away in the middle of the ocean or in the Caribbean. So remember, there's nothing wrong with having fun on vacation, nothing. But remember, it's also up to us to remember that if we enable ourselves into these habits that didn't serve us before, we could possibly carry that stuff when we come back home. So it's just important to remember your limits and not let everything consume you, as it certainly can. Now, let's talk about how you can get some free money for traveling. Rakuten is it. I just found this a couple years ago, and you guys, it is absolutely amazing. It's a free website. You can also use it as an app on your phone, and it offers free cash back on tons of online retailers. So you might see like 7 or 8 or 9% cash back. Sometimes they'll offer you a dollar amount back when you just purchase something online, just like you always would. One area that doesn't go with this is Amazon, but a lot of online retailers. I'm a big QVC. By the way, this is not sponsored by any of this. I'm just sharing this with you because I got to tell you something. This is a way to save up some money and earn some extra money. I like QVC on there. I like HSN on there. I've used ButcherBox. I've used tons of contacts, ordering contacts. You can get cash back. There's a ton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link that down below for you so you can get your free money and get in there and do some online shopping. Because let me tell you something, when you get that online shopping going and you start seeing cash back, they pay you 4 times a year, which is really nice to have a little extra money coming in for your vacation or whatever you want to spend it on, right? All right, let's go to number 5. And this is it. Rest. A lot of us go on vacations and we plan so much stuff. When we're home, a lot of times we're on a certain schedule. So we go to work and we come home and we go to bed and we get up and we're on kind of the same sleep schedule. I hope that's what keeps you healthy, or these evening routines, morning routines, all of those things. But when you are on vacation, that kind of thing can get skewed a bit, especially if you're going through time changes, you have jet lag, if you're traveling long distances or internationally, etc., etc. But what you are going to be tired on vacation. So it's not a marathon, even though it could feel like you've got all this energy going and you feel like you're okay. Your body is still going to be tired. What I learn each and every time that I travel is that getting enough rest while I'm traveling actually helps me to be more adaptive. It helps me to be more alert. It helps me to be more fresh. And it helps me to really be focused on one thing that's important, and that is having fun. So wherever I am, because I want to have fun. I want to have that fun wherever I am, and that's my number one focus. It's supposed to be fun. If you don't rest, it's going to take a big toll on how your body functions, especially if you're on a vacation. Like we had one stop in port where we were there at 7 o'clock in the morning. So there was an early wake up. Or the final day of the cruise. Those of you who have been on cruises know that the disembarkation day is probably the saddest, but it is also one of the most stressful days because you have to get up so early. You have to be out of there usually by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So not only are you up that early, but you might want to eat before you leave and all that. So you will get thrown off on days like that when you're traveling. So it's important through your entire trip to make sure that you're resting. When you get home, you don't want to be completely exhausted and have to go right back to work either. You don't want that vacation from your vacation. Make your vacation fun, whole, complete by getting some rest. Vacations are about resting your mind, your body as well. So you know you have a precious body to take care of. Do that even when you're not at home. So I hope that these tips helped you. I hope that my stories helped you, and some of these pictures were fun for you to see as well. It was an awesome vacation. I encourage anyone who has never been on a cruise to take a cruise. They're a lot of fun. Land vacations are just as fun, but I'll tell you, there's something about looking out there at the open seas and just being at peace with things. And it's important to know that when you are in different places, you don't want to enable yourself to get back into these unhealthy routines that may not serve you in your day-to-day life. So thank you all for watching this video. I can't wait to see you on the next one. Thank you again. See you all very, very soon.